I don't believe this at all. And second of all,
she's a
guys,
good
you're picking
Manchurian
this.
candidate.
No, hold on.
She's a Democrat.
Hold on.
Cenk Uygur was a guest on Chris Cuomo News. Nation show to go up against Geraldo, Rivera, and Chris Cuomo over Democratic candidates in Israel, and this one had a very strange ending, so you want to make sure to watch all the way through, and we are going to start with a little monologue from Chris Cuomo, and then we will get into the actual debate, and I also want to share my thoughts on this as well, so let's get into it together.
Is there a line between criticizing the Israeli government and being anti-Semitic? And if there is, and I would suggest there is, where is it? This progressive candidate in Texas, Maureen Galindo, she finished first in the Democratic primary, faces a runoff next week. Galindo posted that if she wins, she'll turn an ICE detention center into a prison for American Zionists and ICE officers. And it will also be a castration processing center for pedophiles, which will probably be most of the Zionists. Now, that is crazy talk. And most major Democrats who are asked about this condemn her, okay? But what is going on here? Today, Hunter Biden went on with Candace Owens, right? I mean, this is like fringe crazies unite. This is what our politics is becoming. And she has a history of what I would call demonstrably anti-Semitic speech. And they were talking about the line with Israel. And he was saying a lot of things that I guarantee you his father would not want to own. So let's discuss where this line is, okay? Two very capable commentators on this. Correspondent at large, Geraldo Rivera, and host of the Young Turks, Mr. Cenk Uygur. It's good to have you both. Cenk, it's good to see you, brother. It's been a minute. Let me just start with you. Cenk, as I say, most of the Democrats don't want to own what Galindo says. And I'm not saying that you say what she says. But where is the line for you between criticism of the state and criticism of the type of person?
Yeah, that's actually super easy. First of all, just to get her out of the way, she's actually being funded by a right-wing PAC. So be careful with people calling themselves Democrats and coming up with these crazy quotes. Okay, now the important question is, where do you draw the line? It's super easy. Don't say anything about Jewish people, but of course we get to say anything we want about the Israeli government. I mean, the Israeli government says, well, since we're a Jewish state, you're not allowed to criticize us. We'll call that anti-Semitic. Well, that's crazy. Saudi Arabia and Iran are theoretically Muslim states. Does that mean we can't criticize them and we're offending all Muslims if we do? No, of course not. That's absurd. Nobody gets special privileges. I think that unfortunately a lot of folks who support Israel have been taught their whole lives that the whole world hates Jewish people, and that's why they hate Israel. Israel doesn't do anything wrong. It's all the dirty, terrible, evil anti-Semites that are unfairly criticizing Israel. But no, we just saw them do a genocide with our own eyes. What do you mean I can't criticize that? Of course I can criticize that. And is it anti-Semitic to do so? Well, if it is, then tons of Jewish people are apparently anti-Semitic. Because did you know not only wonderful, brave fighters like Dave Smith, Glenn Greenwald, Robert Greenwald, Gideon Levy from Israel, I can go on and on, that fight for peace. But on top of that, 63% of Jewish Americans in this country are against the current Israeli government. Are they all anti-Semites? Of course not.
Well, first of all, I think you got to separate the people who...
He said that those 63% are anti-Semitic against themselves, and then added that he was obviously joking, but still made the point that Cenk Uygur was making, and that this is something he has said for years, and he argued that there is no other country where if you criticize its government, people automatically say you hate the people of that country. And he gave an example that if the United States was giving billions of dollars in weapons to England, and England started bombing France and committing atrocities, and people said we should stop funding England, then nobody would say you hate British people or you are anti-British. And he said it is an absurd argument, and that in his view, Americans and people in any country should be able to criticize other governments, including Israel. And he said that the situation has reached a point where free speech is being affected because people lose jobs or opportunities or get canceled for criticizing another country's government. And he said that to him, this is deeply un-American, and that saying you cannot criticize a government without being accused of hating its people is the wrong way to think about it. And he was speaking in the context of a debate on Chris Cuomo show alongside Geraldo Rivera.
Take this as an earnest issue and have done so over time, and opportunists who like to play gotcha and debate as a sport just to raise a following. Cenk, I believe that it's a real issue for you. A lot of the guys you just named, I think, are part of the problem. I think they're opportunists. But Geraldo, how do you see this, and how have you seen it change over time?
Well, first of all, I think that what this candidate, Galindo, said disqualifies her from ever being in public office. It was obscene and disgusting. She wants to herd Jews into a pen where they kept the refugees and the immigrants, and then they want to take their fingernails out and otherwise torture. Just disgusting, low-down, dirty crap that you wonder how was she raised? How could she really be so far off the beaten track that she? And this is the person who was leading to be the Democratic candidate. This is what's wrong with the Democrats. Don't they vet these people? I mean, do they want to get slaughtered again? Bad word. Do they want to get soundly defeated in the next election by putting up people who have these far left leanings? I think it's really they have to really assess, look into their.
He said he could already predict that the Democrats were not going to lose in November because of one person saying controversial things, and he pointed out that most people had not even heard of that individual before, and he argued that this would not be the reason an election is lost, and instead he said the real issue would be if Democrats do not clearly state their position that they are against the Israeli government, while also making clear they have no problem with the people of Israel, and he added that they should push to stop sending money and weapons and focus more on domestic issues like healthcare and other priorities for citizens, and he said in his view it would be wrong to think that one controversial person could decide an election, and he concluded that he believes Geraldo Rivera's incorrect in his argument in that discussion alongside Chris Cuomo.
And say, what the hell is this? That this is this the best the Democrats can do? Really, really awful.
Well, look, the Democrats have disavowed. Cenk, I'll give you the last word. You're shaking your head. If she wins, she's the Democratic candidate. Then she represents the party.
So first of all, she said those quotes after the vote, so it's not like people saw that and then voted for her. Second of all, like I said, she's funded by a right-wing PAC, so this I don't believe this at all. And second of all,
she's a good Manchurian candidate.
No, hold on.
She's a Democrat.
Hold on.
Cenk, you guys are picking this random, tiny little Democrat.
We'll be back right after the break.
She represents everyone. Wait, did you guys all call out Randy Fine, the monstrous genocidal freak in Congress?
Cenk, give me the break, and then we'll come back and you can have the rest of your point. The computer's taking me off. We'll be right back.
NewsNation.
So this is super weird, and Chris Cuomo cuts to a commercial right in the middle of Jen Uygur making a point, and he says, oh, the computer is going to take me off, and the speaker comments that they have not really seen this before on his show or other networks, and they find it unusual that the discussion gets interrupted right in the middle of Jen Uyr's argument. And then it is noted that after the brief continuation, the segment basically ends, which gives the impression of an abrupt cutoff in the flow of the debate.
With Geraldo and Cenk's yappy ass, who almost got me taken off by the computer. Cenk, we do call out Randy Fine. And look, Democrats have funded extreme candidates on the right also for a weak opponent. But the party's got to own her if she wins. It's not just, oh, what about Randy Fine? Shouldn't the Democratic Party be better than what they oppose? Quickly.
Chris, first of all, you guys found this candidate like a week ago. No one has ever heard of her, whereas not a single Republican has condemned Randy Fine, who is set to murder every man, woman, and child in Gaza. So it's utterly unacceptable. Look, 60% of this country has a negative view of Israel. There's no reason why we should be funding a country the size of Papua New Guinea to the tune of $320 billion and $8 trillion worth of wars.
That's a different argument. That's a different argument, Jake, and I'm here for it. Don't get me wrong. But I got to jump. I'm into Leland's show. Now he hates me too. Geraldo, I love you. Thank you. Cenk, I'm going to punch you in the nose. But not because of your argument, because of what you did to my timing.
Again, I'm not really sure what happened there and why they did not schedule more time for this segment so that Jin Yu could actually make his point, and it feels a bit strange because I have not seen this before on the Chris Cuomo show or other networks, but it looks like they are trying to mix arguments here, and Jen Uygur and nobody in the Democratic Party is saying that anti-Semitism is a good thing because every rational person is against that. And Jin Yu is making the point to Chris Cuomo and Geraldo Rivera that he has been saying for years that we should stop giving money to Israel because of what he describes as the situation in Gaza and the wider conflict. And he argues that reasonable people can separate criticism of a government from hatred toward Jewish people or the people of Israel, and that the issue is with the hard right government and the use of American taxpayer money. And he says this is what many Democrats and many Americans would support, and he rejects the idea that this automatically equals anti-Semitism, and he criticizes the framing from Chris Cuomo and Geraldo Rivera, saying they are spinning the argument, and he insists that he was not supporting anything harmful but simply making a political argument, and the segment ends with him asking viewers for their opinions and engagement, including likes and subscriptions.